Hi everybody, I'm Suzanne Woolf and this is Live with GCCA, Collage and Cocktails. Hey, let's go into the studio. Welcome to my Greenville, South Carolina studio. Today we're going to be doing a small collage using everyday items that you probably already have at home. So give me a moment while I get my camera set up and we'll get started. That looks pretty good, pretty centered. Okay, so what do we want to do first? We want to talk a little bit about, well, first things first, does everyone have their cocktail? That's most important. I will be enjoying a white wine sangria, which is like one of my favorites. And I want to do a quick review over the materials. So let me get him out of the way. This is an example that I have from another class. The first thing you want to do is protect your surface. I have a little bit of cardstock here, a little bit of paper. You can use newsprint, a plastic tablecloth, mat, whatever you have. Maybe even some wax paper would be good. You're going to want to have some cardboard. Here's 3 different examples. I have cardboard from a shipping carton, cardboard from a cereal box, and then this cardboard is actually from an old sketchbook, and that's what I'm going to be using today. So any sort of cardboard that you have will work. You're going to want to have some white glue. I have some Elmer's. You can also try tacky glue if you have that. And Mod Podge also works if you happen to have some of that too from other projects. So I'm going to be using Elmer's glue because that's what most people have. You're going to want to have some old magazines. So I have here some old magazines. I've torn out a few pages already. Any sort of papers that you want to use. So I have, again, some old magazines, some old sheet music, book pages, old tickets, maps, any paper items that you can get your hands on that's okay to cut up and glue. So let's get rid of those. We don't need those anymore. You're going to want to have a focus image, which I will get into later, my choices. If you don't have one now, that's okay. You can always add it later. You're going to want to have some craft paint. I have 4 different colors I'm going to choose from. You want to do a light color. I have khaki, white, gray, and pink, but any light color will do. A light yellow, light blue, and you can do more than one. The painting layer is completely optional. You're going to want to have some sort of brush. A foam brush will work, regular paintbrush will work, that's great. You want to have a scissors, and you want to have some cool mark making material. So what do I mean by that? Anything that's going to make a mark using the paint that you have. So I've got some bubble wrap, some cardboard, which you've seen I've used before. So that's just cardboard with one of the layers pulled off. I've got a sponge, a Q-tip, some rings, and a few other items. So really anything that you can think of that would make a cool mark using paint. Okay, so that's a review of what we need to get started. So the first thing we want to do is maybe take a sip. Okay, we want to take some of our glue and water it down. Now, you could use the glue and the Mod Podge or the tacky glue at full strength, but for this project, I think watering it down is best because it allows it to dry a little bit faster than if you use straight glue. And we want to do like a 50-50 mix. So let's put a little water in here. That's about right. And we're just going to stir it up. You're going to have it be a pretty thin, milky consistency. This looks about right. It might be a little lumpy, not a big deal. We're just going to use it to glue things down. So we've got our little bit of glue. And we've got our cardboard. We've got our brush. So now we just want to start tearing the paper. Now the reason I tear paper is I think it's a little bit more interesting. Makes for a little bit more interesting shapes. You can, if you want, cut the papers. I don't think that's as much fun as tearing paper, but if you want to do that, that's okay. And you just want to tear a few things just to get started. Got some of the flowers from the magazine, some book pages maybe. Let's see what else we got in this cool pile. Oh, we got some stamps. Maybe we want to throw those on. Maybe some of this plot plan. And we just want to start randomly gluing things down. So fill your brush, put a little bit on there, and just go ahead and start gluing things down. Some paper may wrinkle. I kind of like that. Some of you might not. So just keep working it. Get it nice and saturated. You want to overlap the pages if you can. They don't have to be straight and lined up. You can go over the edge because you can always trim that off later. So again, this is just sort of randomly adding things to the page. You can see how wet this is getting too. It's pretty good. I like the sheet music. I think that's kind of cool. And just keep going. You can go upside down, right way around. I know some people probably have a concern with things being upside down, but it's all good. It's okay. And we're just going to keep randomly doing this. Now, one of the reasons why I like collage so much is that it's inexpensive to get started. It's really fun. You can do just about anything. And the materials are so fantastic. I mean, I just absolutely love papers of any sorts. I mean, you saw from my tray here that I have all sorts of vintage things. Like I said, the old tickets, the maps. This is an old flyer. Really fun material. You can use anything, really. Scrapbook paper is pretty cool. Let's put this little map in here. I like that blue. So don't be shy. Just keep putting things in here, layering and layering and layering. Now you might find as you're working, your cardboard starts to warp a little bit. This may happen depending on the cardboard that you choose. You can see mine is starting to bow a little bit. We can fix that later. After the piece dries, I'll tell you how you can do that. I did a couple of test strips and trying out the tacky glue and the Elmer's for this collage experiment. And you can see that this is bowed, right? And that's from the glue pulling it in. Well, this one was also bowed. What I did after it was completely dried, I put some of the glue material on the back and it straightened it out. So there's your option to fixing any bowing of your cardboard. Let's put this ticket right in here. That's pretty cool. So there's your fix for and if that doesn't work, then just go ahead and let it dry completely and then put it under a couple of old books and let it sit for a couple of days, and that should flatten it right out too. So you can see we're moving quite along. It's a pretty fast process once you get comfortable with just being random. Don't think about it. Just tear and glue, tear and glue. Let's see, maybe some more matte would be good. And I'm just going to go over the edge and overlap a lot. It gives it a little bit more texture. Trying to do a little bit of balancing. So if I put green up on this side, I want to put a little green down here just to balance it. Not critical, but just something to think about when you're collaging. Let's see, maybe some more of this text is good. Do that upside down. Let's see. Okay, I think we're getting there. Almost there. There's another stamp. That's a pretty cool stamp. Put that in there. can see it's buckling a little bit, that piece there, which is fine. I don't mind that. I think the wrinkles add a little character. Okay, I think this is looking pretty good. I pretty much covered it solid. You don't have to do that if you want to leave some bare spots. Maybe your background, your cardboard is the cereal box, and that's got a lot of fun colors that you want to keep in there. That's fine. So, all right, this is looking pretty good. I like it. Use my fingers a little bit. Okay. All right, we're going to let this dry for just a couple of minutes, and I'm going to talk a little bit about our second layer, what we're going to do. So again, the reason why I've diluted my glue is because I wanted to give it a little opportunity to dry. I hope you can see that okay. I'm pretty good at centering things. While we talk a little bit about the second layer, and this is going to be our painting layer. And the reason why I recommend doing a painting layer on top of the collage layer is that it neutralizes. So right now when you look at this, you immediately go, oh, I see a ticket, or I see some green stuff, I see a map. We want to neutralize that so that it does become a background. It's not just a bunch of collage materials. And you can use one or more than one color. I'm just going to use one. And I'm going to use my wax paper as a little bit of a palette. Whoops. I dropped it. You can pour out a little bit on your wax paper. You can use a little cup like I did for the glue. By the way, these are really handy, so save them from your takeout. The little cups are great. Okay, so what do I want to do here? Now this is probably, it's getting there. It's drier than you think. I'm going to start with some bubble wrap. So I'm just going to use this same brush, even though it's got glue on it. I think it's fine. Again, this is fun collaging, so nothing important. So you can see they're just putting little spots on that. Maybe that's a little too light. Let's try gray. There we go. So 1 or 2 colors. 3 if you want, 4 if you want. There we go. There's some cool gray on that. So you can just see where it's starting to add some texture, but also neutralizing the background. I think this works really well. Now if you find that you put too much paint on in one area or another, you can just take a baby wipe or a paper towel, and that should wipe off any. So if I said, oh, that was a little bit too much, you can see how it just will come right off. Let's do a little, I'm going to try a little white. I was going to use one color, but then I changed my mind. And this time I'm going to use my wonderful piece of cardboard that I've torn off one of the sheets. And I'm just using it just like I would a stamp. Oh, that's hard to see too. I guess I should have chosen a little bit darker color, but that's okay. Some of this too. All we're trying to do is neutralize the background. So you can see that's really cool right there. See that little part right here? The grid, that looks pretty cool. And I'm just going to keep working a few of these colors. Well, I guess we'll try the pink now, since these are not showing up like I had hoped. That's okay. It's just adding more layers. That's all it is. It's super fun. There we go. What I really need to neutralize is some of these bright colors here. And you can just keep doing this until you're happy with the background. I think the pink color is probably the best. I should have chosen that right off from the start. But that's what happens with collage and mixed media. You just keep trying things until you get something you like. And I think I'm going to do a little of these circles. Now you may be thinking to yourself like, oh, this looks really messy. Well, yes and no. It may look messy, but it's also because of the busyness and the variety of colors and the stenciling and stamping, I think it neutralizes the background, and so it really, really pushes it back. Because now you're not looking at any one thing specifically, you're looking at it as a whole, as a background. I'm going to cover up that ticket a little bit. I thought that was a little busy. See how that just pushed that right back? You can still tell it's a ticket, but it's now neutralized. I think one more at this spot right here in the middle. Okay. Oh yeah, I think that looks good. Really good. I like it. Yep. I think I'll do it. I just can't stop, so it's a problem. There we go. All right. So we're going to let that dry for a moment. And wash this sponge brush off because I want to use it to glue again later. My paper towel. So now as this paint layer dries a little bit, I want to talk about our focal image. Now when I first thought about this project and what I wanted to do, I was thinking about people working from home and how that seems to be obviously becoming almost commonplace. And a lot more people are doing it now, and so I wanted to find some images that would kind of represent that. So I went through my stashes, and I found a couple of things I liked. While I dig them back out. So this was the first image that I found. This guy in his work from home outfit, and I thought, oh yeah, he's awesome. I loved him. He's from a vintage magazine. Oh, that guy's not bad either. But he's a little big for this background. So I think I'll save him for another project. I then went to some of my vintage books, and I happen to have an old book about learning how to use a typewriter and how to sit properly at the desk and all the exercises that you do to learn how to be fast at it. And I liked her. I thought she was great, but still I wasn't sure about the black and white, and so not my favorite this time, so I set her aside as well. And then I found this Supergirl in this pajama / bathing suit sort of outfit, and I thought, yeah, I kind of like her, so I think I'm going to use her. And I want her to be standing on something, so I get images from this site called thegraphicfairies.com, and you can sign up for their newsletter and get free images every Friday, or you can get a subscription where you have access to a whole bunch of royalty-free images. And I like this. I printed out a few, and I like this self-inking stamp pad, so I think I'd like to have her standing on that. So those are going to be my images, so I need to cut them out. And I'm going to do this fairly quickly. You can take your time if you want, but I'm just going to cut her out along the edge of her person. It doesn't have to be perfect, so we can always fill in with some shading or some outlining, that kind of thing. So, but I like the idea of cutting right along the edge because I think that it'll make her stand out a little bit more on the background. Okay. Okay. So if you're putting comments and questions into the comment section, I'm sorry if I can't see them the way my camera is set up. I can't see them, but I will look at them later and get back to you if I can. So I apologize for that. Sometimes it's better if you pick a really easy image. Okay, I like her. I think she's looking good. Oh yeah. Work from home, Supergirl. Alright, I want to put out this little... Now, if you're not doing the project and you're just enjoying a cocktail, that's fantastic as well. This is going to be, it's being recorded and will be part of the GCCA YouTube channel that they have now, so that'll be great. So you can always come back and watch it again. If you've missed something or you just want to see me making a fool out of myself, that's okay too. Okay, dab out that little extra paint there. Okay, so now when you're thinking about placing your focal image, you could just put them in the middle. Nothing wrong with that. You could, play around with maybe it looks better this way, or turn it completely upside down. It's up to you. I'm going to put her a little off to the right because I'm thinking I might want to put something here later. But I think she'll look really good there. So I'm going to use the same glue mixture that we made earlier, and if you've used it all up, then just make it a little bit more. I'm going to put this right on here. There's a little pink paint on my brush, but I think that's fine. Not going to hurt anything. I'll put a little bit on the back of this her so that she sticks on better. Ooh, her legs. So I definitely want her standing right on this box, so placement of that is going to be key. There we go. How does she look? She looks good. Again, a little bit of the pink paint is on my brush, but I can use a paper towel and take that off her, at least off her face. I'm just kidding, so there she is, all in her finery. So that's kind of the whole process right there. You let it dry. You could maybe do a little bit more stamping if you wanted. You could do some doodling with some colored pencils. You can certainly do a lot of things. I have a few crayons here that I want to use. These look fancy, but they're just like regular crayons. You could add some texture, maybe put a horizon line so she's not, floating in the middle of nowhere. Let's do that. These art crayons are awesome. They smear really nicely. They can give some nice texture and color. But again, you can use anything you have. Colored pencils, crayons, markers. If you're going to use markers, I would definitely wait for it to dry. You don't want to ruin your markers by putting them through wet paint. Just like to do a little edging there. Okay. And there we have it. A masterpiece. Ode to working from home. Okay, so what do we have left to do? Well, we want to sign it. Once you're happy and it's complete, you can certainly sign it. You want to be able to, you just want to sit back, finish your cocktail or your beverage of choice and admire your artwork. Like I said, don't forget to sign it. And I want to thank you so much for being a part of this Facebook Live session from GCCA. You can learn more about GCCA and the classes they offer once we're past all this craziness by going to the website of artcentergreenville.org. You can also follow them on Facebook at Greenville Center for Creative Arts. You can find me at SuzanneWoolf.com, SuzanneWoolf.com. And thanks again. Support your local artists, please, and I'll see you soon at the Art Center. Oh, and don't forget, there is another GCCA Facebook Live tomorrow, April 10th at 2 p.m. with fiber artist Dia Robinson. So once again, thank you so much. Have a great evening. Thank you. And Supergirl is here.